My next guest is a Super Bowl champion who spent 15 seasons in the NFL. Patriots, Cardinals, the Browns, Texans, Bears, Niners. Who am I missing?
Yeah. There was a short stint with Pittsburgh.
A short stint, a little, you dilly-dally to it? Okay, okay. How about, no, there's more. What am I missing?
Patriots,
Colts?
back to the Patriots, and then Colts, and then Raiders. I lose count too, don't worry, Kay.
I forgot Raiders. Well, you're the perfect person to talk to. Brian Hoyer, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. It's 23 teams reporting in full today. You know, I'm not used to an NFL training camp that is sans Brian Hoyer. How are you feeling right now?
It's good. You know, I'm training my son for his first training camp of tackle football. So, you know, for me, staying in shape, doing that, throwing with him and teaching him all the ins and outs of playing quarterback for the first time for him and just spending time with family that I usually don't get. You know, usually these last few weeks leading up to training camp is you try to squeeze family time in, but in the back of your mind, it's like, I got to weigh in. I got to do a conditioning test. I got training camp. What's the first few days of the playbook going to be? So for me to not have that, you know, stress, so to speak, has been great. And to get to, you know, spend more time with the family has been awesome. Yeah,
you heard Hamilton and I being like, we love training camp. Everybody's optimistic. It's so great. It's like a fun party. And you're probably like, training camp sucks.
It used to. I mean, the way the rules are now, it's gotten a lot easier. You know, you have in a lot of time, the clock starts, you got 11 hours. You know, when I first started, we had 2 days, and that was with Bill Belichick. So you can imagine, you know, 2 days in 2009 with Bill. It was a lot different than last year, my last training camp in Vegas, where it was easy breezy. And though it was hot, we had this cool room. It's like walking into a giant freezer. I mean, they take care of the players, you know, so greatly these days that, you know, training camp from when I started 15 years ago to now has become a lot easier.
We are, I believe, I mean, it's changing every 5 seconds. I believe we are starting a really ambitious training camp tour in New England.
Oh, great. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yes, we'll be there. I believe we'll be there on next Monday. When will we be? Okay. How about you?
And I'm going to be there on Sunday, but I might be able to drive back down.
Yes, I will. Okay, that would be amazing. Oh my gosh, you'll be like my pass to like get through to everywhere. In your last stint with New England, you were backing up Mac Jones, I believe, under Bill Belichick. What was it? What didn't? So many opinions. What didn't work? Was it developmentally? And if you're Gerard Mayo, who we know and love, what do you know that you need to change to get it right with Drake Maye?
Well, I think a lot of things. I think one, it was a blessing and a curse for Mac to have Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator as a rookie because he learned so much. I mean, Josh didn't treat Mac like a rookie, and Mac really handled it really well. But in the curse side of it, he learned a lot. And I think the next year when we brought some people in who maybe were learning how to coach an offense, how to build an offense, you know, he was very skeptical. And I think that kind of started to snowball, you know, not trusting the system, the plays, everything like that. And then obviously I wasn't here last year, but you could see it was just kind of a total collapse, which, you know, was really sad for me to see, being Mac's kind of quote unquote mentor his rookie year, and saw what he was capable of. And so it's probably best for him to get a new start down in Jacksonville, where he comes from. So I know he's excited about that. And I think with Drake Maye up here, you have a great veteran in Jacoby Brissett, who's in line to be the starting quarterback. You know, let Drake learn from a great veteran like Jacoby and take it one day at a time. And if he progresses, then you keep moving on. And if he doesn't, then you kind of keep working through that. So I think, you know, for them, and they've said it, you know, multiple times, is take their time and don't force him into anything that he's not ready to do.
Yeah, I was talking to Patrick Chung, hopped on the other day, and he was saying that there's no better situation for a young Drake Maye than to have Jacoby Brissett, veteran, great energy, selfless guy, in that quarterback room with him, unless he had you in the quarterback room with him. Tell me this, a team, let's close our eyes, a team calls. Which team could pull Brian Hoyer into the quarterback room at this point?
Oh, man, I think it would have to be somewhere my wife would want to live. So I know she's fond of L.A. You know, L.A. would be a hot place to go. Miami. You know, those would be two places. go for the weather. And, you know, obviously two really good towns and two teams that are really on the rise, really three teams if you look at the Chargers now with Coach Harbaugh. Yeah.
So are you buying? I'm trying to get to Chargers camp because I've had people come on my show, Dante Whitner, everyone. You watch them walk to the AFC, watch them beat the Chiefs, just with that as a change. So when you look at the complexion of teams, even the places that you would find attractive, what is it about Jim Harbaugh that like perks your eyebrows.
Look, as hard as it for me to say as a Michigan State guy complimenting a Michigan guy,
There
but
you go.
he's done a tremendous job everywhere he's ever been. And I think the one thing that he'll bring to the Chargers that they really haven't had is the toughness, a mentality, run the football. I mean, poor Justin Herbert, who I think is one of the top young quarterbacks in the game, he's just sitting back there and dropping back and throwing play after play after play. And so I think Coach Harbaugh brings in a mentality where they're going to run the ball. And to complement that with Justin Herbert's pass game, I think is a huge, a huge improvement, so to speak, as of over like kind of trying to outsmart people or try to out finesse people. And Coach Harbaugh's proven that at every stop that he's made.
Jim, get Hoyer on the line. First of all, your wife deserves it because we need to just give your wife, I'm looking at the list of teams again, and she just was amazing and supported you through all of those boxes and traveling to live out your dream.
She really was.
So let's get her butt to LA. I love this idea. I believe that quarterback room is Easton Stick, and I don't know who else. Oh, Max Duggan. I think. Okay. I think that this is a quarterback room that could use the veteran presence out there.
If he's willing
Jim.
to accept a Spartan, we could see how it works out.
Sparty on, they don't care. It's so interesting because when Greg Roman came on board, I was like, I don't like this. I didn't. I was not I want Justin to uncork it. I don't want we were going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball here, and now I'm sort of understanding more what it's going to look like and how that run game will help get the best, obviously, out of Justin.
Yeah, I think, having played quarterback in the NFL for 15 years, you don't realize as a fan, but you realize as a player how much a good run game really helps a quarterback because it just takes some of that pressure off and it opens up some of those play action passes. And so, the worst thing you can do as a quarterback is drop back out of the shotgun 50 times. With the way that these pass rushers rush the passer, in this era of the NFL, you don't want to do that. So give him a break, give him some runs, give him some play action passes, get him on the move. And I think that's what Coach Harbaugh and Coach Roman have always kind of shown. And I think, we already know that he can drop back and pass. So let's add those compliments to his game and see where it gets him.
Last season, you backed up Jimmy G with the Raiders. So we're watching Netflix receiver, #1 show globally, unbelievable thing for the NFL, for Patrick Mahomes' production company, for Netflix, of course, for Jamie Horowitz in Omaha, all of that. But everyone's talking about DaVante Adams. And he basically he told the Raiders they'd have to bench Jimmy G if they wanted to keep him happy, if they wanted to keep him around. What do you remember about that moment in time for the Raiders last season?
Yeah, look, there was a lot of chaos. I think, there was a lot of expectations going in. And when you look at DaVante, who's one of the greatest receivers that I've ever played with, he played with Aaron Rodgers for his whole career. And then he came to Vegas and played with Derek Carr, who was his college roommate. So, for the first time in however many years, he was playing with a quarterback that wasn't Derek and that wasn't Aaron. And I think, it didn't get off to a great start. And then there was obviously Coach McDaniels was fired and they made the switch to Aiden, and Aiden did a tremendous job. So it was a lot of turmoil. I think things kind of settled down. But as we see here now, they have a quarterback competition. So DaVante is going to have to wait and see who his quarterback is again going into the season.
Who's his quarterback going into the season, in your opinion? You saw Aiden up close and personal.
I would go with Aiden. Look, like you said, I backed up and mentored Mac Jones as a rookie. Aiden O'Connell, for being thrown into the situation that he was thrown into. I remember sitting there at the end of the season, and he was kind of just shaking his head, and he thought, I never even thought I'd play one snap, with Jimmy being the starter, you being the backup. And so with what he was thrust into, the progress he made, and I think Gardner Minshew's a great quarterback, but I think Aiden did something in those 8 weeks where he earned the respect of a lot of those players, offensive and defensive players. So, I think you got to let him battle it out, but at some point you got to make a decision. And for me, with my personal connection to Aiden, I think until he proves he can't do it, I think you go with him.
That's a vote of confidence for Aiden O'Connell. I'm not calling you out, but you did not have that same reaction in talking about Mac Jones. So I'm going to ask you, is Mac Jones a starter in the NFL?
Yeah, I believe so. I think, and the way that I view Mac, the guy was a Pro Bowl player as a rookie. Things got off the rails. We talked about it. And I think for him to get a fresh start, and I know, like I said, being from Jacksonville, he's excited. Now he's got to be behind Trevor Lawrence. But as we've seen, many times, there's injuries in the NFL. So I think he just has to be ready. Something happens to Trevor, 3-4 good games, people will start saying, this is the Mac Jones we saw as a rookie. So it's all about opportunity for Mac at this point. And I think a fresh, clean slate really allows him to kind of become the player he was as a rookie again.
You're 38. Aaron Rodgers is 40, coming off, you're talking about injuries. Injuries happen. Injuries happened in the first 4 snaps of the game, Monday night, or the week 1 opener. I was there at MetLife watching it happen. Aaron shows up for his 20th NFL training camp, which is incredible and a feat in and of itself. What is the biggest challenge for Aaron Rodgers as he's trying to get to the Super Bowl and win another one?
I think just coming back from that Achilles, and I think he kind of proved that he was way, ahead of schedule. We saw him out there throwing early last year in the middle of the year, thinking he might be able to come back. And with what they can do with surgeries these days, we've all seen the videos of them showing how they repaired his Achilles. I think as long as he stays on top of that, I think the Jets. I know you were mentioning off air that the Chiefs are going to win it again, but if Aaron stays healthy, they definitely have a great chance to challenge the Chiefs, not only because of Aaron and the talent they brought around him, but their defense is incredible. And having been on a team where Coach Saleh was a defensive coordinator, I know that he will always have them motivated and ready to go. So, for me, as watching as a fan last year, you see Aaron go down, and you're like, this is just not good for football. So hopefully he's back, he's recovered, and he's a guy that I've always admired watching. We'd sit there, Tom and I would sit there and break down, like, man, how is he throwing this football? It's almost like a tennis serve or like a volleyball serve. And he's just such a phenomenal thrower of the football that, you love to see when he's out there and the things that he can do. And really with the guys that they've, paired him up with out there in New York.
I'm a big Saleh fan. Got to sit with him last year. I think he's dealt with a lot of adversity. I like hearing you give him a vote of confidence. You're somebody who knows him, somebody who shared time with him. And I feel like there's a lot of, I don't even know if it's negativity, but there's a lot of questions like, is he the one? Can he do it? I think a bunch of people would answer the question of what's the biggest challenge, and they'd say, is Saleh the guy? And there's questions about lots of coaches in the NFL like that. Why is Saleh the guy, outside of being a motivator of men, like you just said?
Well, I think just the passion that he brings. I remember those practices in San Francisco when he was the defensive coordinator. I mean, we were going at it back and forth, back and forth. And the passion that he brought to practice every day, the intensity was awesome. And I think players in this era, in this day and age, that's what they gravitate towards. And really, if you look at his career in New York, there really hasn't been an established quarterback. And I think obviously that's what everyone wanted to see last year with Aaron. Unfortunately, he goes down on the first drive of the game. So, you could really kind of say that was a wash of a year. And I know people don't like to look at it that way, but the reality is, let's see if Aaron stays healthy and that team plays a full season with him at the quarterback. I think Saleh, we could talk about, possibly being one of the top coaches in the NFL, because if you look at the defense that they've executed the past few years, it's always been a top defense. It's kind of just the offense been lagging behind.
They got to get it going with Hassan Reddick, got to get him. I think he is that piece that they need to sort of put them over the top. Or is there another piece that's needed? Obviously, there's a lot of rumors. Aaron Rodgers, gets his way. He wants this guy. Do you think they have enough pieces around Aaron? You said, I don't put words in your mouth. You're basically saying the Jets are the contender to the Chiefs. They're the team you would pick to say we can take them out.
I think them with Aaron staying healthy, and I think, a sleeper team, the more I've been doing some of this media stuff, you watch, and I think you look at the Houston Texans and what they've done and what C.J. Stroud did as a rookie last year, I think that's a sleeper. I mean, if he continues to progress on his track, I mean, they add Stephon Diggs, they have a good defense, you have a really good young coach who was under Coach Saleh, DeMeco Ryans, who comes from San Francisco. I saw Nick Caserio at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame introduction here in New England, and I said, "Man, Nick, you're just killing it. Pick after pick, he's killing it." And it's always so good for me to see a guy he was the first guy that I ever met with the Patriots when I was coming out of the NFL. So to see him now as a GM, and last year, he drafts the offensive rookie of the year, the defensive the rookie year in the same draft, and the success that they had, I really, really like. C.J. Stroud and how he played last year. And I think if he takes another step, this is an opportunity. It just takes one game. If he has a great game and they shut down Mahomes in the playoffs, you're one game away from going to the Super Bowl.
I love that I don't know that there was a more exciting booking for me in the last year than when they said Nick Caserio will come on and talk to you. Because I worked in New England, and it was just this looming sort of like, he never was in the public eye. He was like, down in a basement somewhere at Patriot Place, like, with numbers and figures and graphs and stuff like that. So to see him get recognition, seeing him work so well with the head coach, the sleeper Super Bowl team for Brian Hoyer is the Texans. We love to see it. Niners, let's get into it. Ayuk trade, request, contract situation, still lingering. How important is it for the Niners, as a 15-year NFL vet at the quarterback spot, how important is it for them to get Brandon Ayuk's deal done for a Lombardi bid?
I think it's important. I know everyone talks about Debo and he's a phenomenal player, but I think Ayuk really complements what Debo does. And in that system, having played in that system, I guess you would call what they call a prototypical X receiver is what Ayuk really plays, because they use Debo in a lot of different ways, but Ayuk is a really true receiver. My question is it too far gone? Are they better off trading him and getting something for him? I mean, when a guy's going out there on social media all the time saying how unhappy he is and he wants to get out of there, is a deal, whether it be the right amount of money, is that really going to fix things, or do you need to move on from him at some point and then try to figure out, a different option at that X position?
That's sort of wild. I don't want them to I mean, I guess if they trade him to the Jets, that would be pretty cool. Yeah,
that would help Aaron, that's for sure.
Or DaVante Adams from the Raiders, all the former teams that you played for.
And T. Higgins, too, right? T. Higgins, another guy who's up in the air. I mean, really, we talked about the Chargers. They need another big-time receiver, too. So, I mean, they lose Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I mean, are they going to do something? Are they go after Ayuk or DaVante or T. Higgins? Who knows?
I would lose my effing mind, Brian, if that happened. That would be crazy. I got to tell you that you're pretty good at this media stuff. Do you know that?
I mean, I like doing it. I love talking about football. I love football. I get to come on shows with people like you and a lot of people who are passionate about it. And you just get caught up. There's so much to talk about. And like you said, it's training camp. It's an exciting time of year. Everybody's 0-0. So everybody has a chance right now.
I wanted to talk to you about the I want to get this right, mspca.org, the foundation that you're a part of. It's the Angel Foundation in Massachusetts. You've been involved for a really long time. I know they do some amazing work. Will you tell me about it?
Yeah, so when NFL started My Cause, My Cleats, it was like something that was near and dear to our hearts. We've always, looked at, and here's a picture, we went to visit this poor boxer. We have 2 boxers. Now we have 4 boxers. After that visit, we adopted a mom and her puppy. And so right now I have in my room with me my 2 boys that are laying on the couch. We kind of have to keep them separated from the mom and her puppy right now until they get their vaccines. But it's something for us. I always look at animals as, they're just these helpless things, but they bring us so much joy and so much love. And to see people, that could be cruel to them in any way, the MSPCA does a great job at, they took in 60 boxers from this breeder who, was just overwhelmed, and it was a hoarding situation, and they're fostering them out, and we were going to foster, but now I think we're foster failures, and the mom and puppy will be staying with us. So.
Well, that's amazing of you, and then they'll be staying with you in Los Angeles, where you'll get to come visit me in studio when you're in that quarterback room with your lovely family. mspca.org. I will walk those dogs for you while you're at practice with Justin Herbert. I'm manifesting that for you, but that doesn't mean you can just not come on the show again, right? Once you get that gig?
Deal. Yeah, no problem.
All right, maybe I'll see you in New England next week.
All right, yeah, sounds good.
That would be awesome. Brian Hoyer, kind enough to stop by.